Hi, Kaylee. Thank you for joining me here at Musaholic Magazine. How are you doing tonight?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So recently, you released a song called "Not Enough," and it's been kind of popping off. Can you tell me a little bit about that and the story behind it?
Yeah, of course. So I released Not Enough in May, and I've just been promoting it on social media a lot, and it's about to hit 500,000 streams within the next couple days, which is insane because it's been like less than a year since the release date, and it's just such a special song to me because it conveys like the deepest, darkest insecurities that I feel. And unfortunately, a lot of my fans feel as well. And I feel really sad that so many people can relate to it. But at the same time, it brings like a whole community of people that thought that they were alone with these emotions. And it kind of makes everyone feel connected and understood and validated. So I'm really happy I chose to release a song because it's definitely brought a lot of people together and more awareness to how difficult it is dealing with insecurities.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a very relatable song. I myself could really relate to it, and it's very, I'd say, emotionally mature. And the where I'm leaning with this is that you have nearly 500,000 streams at the age of 17. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's absolutely incredible. Do you ever feel like, wow, how am I this successful already, or do you have your sights aimed higher?
It doesn't feel real, honestly. It happened so fast, and like, I just obviously deal with like insecurities and I doubt myself. And sometimes I kind of disassociate and I'm like, is this really happening to me? Like, there's no way like my dreams are coming true. So I'm like internally grateful and I'm so excited to like start my journey with Not Enough blowing up. Yeah, sometimes I really feel it and I'm like, this is insane. Like a year ago, I would not believe that this was possible for me. So I'm really grateful.
Yeah, so I've noticed that you have a bit of a following on TikTok. Do you think your following there has helped your song reach a bit more people at all, or what how has TikTok influenced the marketing of the song?
Honestly, TikTok, I don't think one video has gone, okay, maybe like one or two videos have done well on Not Enough, actually, because like it really just, my TikTok kind of blew up when I first released Roller Coaster. Um, Actually, what has blown up this song is Instagram, and
Oh.
I kind of diverted to Instagram because I kept saying like I'm posting all these videos like they're funny or they're like good content. I don't understand what I'm doing wrong and doubting myself and I'm just like why don't I start posting on Instagram Reels? And I started posting and all of a sudden like this one video hit 1 million views and I'm like what? And then another one hit 3.5 million, which is insane. And since then, like it's just skyrocketed my streams 100% from Instagram. And also, I posted on Pinterest, which not a lot of
Hmm.
artists know to do. And kind of touch on this a little bit in all my interviews because I want to spread the word. Like Pinterest, if you post an idea pin, that's what it's called, has done really well on there too. I think I have like 500,000 monthly views on there, which is insane.
Wow, that's really cool. And I know, like with our generation, because I'm 21, so I'm not that much older than you. Like, a lot of my friends they use Pinterest, so like I think that's kind of an untapped market. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Like, um, so sorry. You mentioned Roller Coaster, which I believe was your first release. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Was there a moment that you decided to really pursue music like passionately or professionally, like as a serious thing?
Yeah, back in quarantine, I posted a singing video on my old account where I kind of did a lot of PR and like vlogs. I posted a singing video, and at the time I had around like 50,000 followers on that account on TikTok, and it got like 100,000 streams of me just singing in my living room, and I'm like, whoa, like I've always kind of felt unsure about my voice or a little insecure. And like a lot of people validated that, and validated my singing, and they were like, wow, this is so good. And I'm like, really? Like, people actually like my voice? So I started posting singing covers on a new TikTok platform because I wanted to start new and see if I could actually gain followers for purely doing music. Um, and I started posting covers, and I was going through a lot at the time, and I said, I should try writing a song as like a therapeutic outlet. And I started writing, and I got into the studio, and I reached out to producers in my area, and ever since then, I got in the studio and just started recording and releasing. And I think really from that first video that did well, it gave me the confidence that this is like a dream of mine to pursue. And like at the time, I kind of was seeking external validation to whether or not to do this and follow this. And I guess I kind of followed it because it's something I always wanted to do. And people kind of were like, yeah, we want to see more. So.
Yeah, that's really incredible. Do you feel like since Not Enough is doing so well that you're like getting that validation and confidence that you're doing something right? Because last I looked, you have 30,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, and there are artists who have been doing it for like years and years and years who haven't even come close to cracking that. So like, but yeah, do you feel like proud of yourself that you're doing so well?
Yeah, I definitely like I feel the love from all my fans, especially like on Instagram because they're able to message me and like DM me, comment things, and I just feel like I'm doing the right thing like you said. I'm bringing a lot of people together that feel so lost in their own emotions and they feel so alone, and they kind of have reassured me that I'm bringing people together so that they feel understood by everyone. Like, people are commenting, "Oh my God, I relate to this," and then someone will reply to their comment like, "Me too." And it just kind of has brought a community together where we all don't really feel so alone with these like dark thoughts, and it kind of is a great thing. Even though it's like such a sad topic that we all do relate to this, but yeah, I'm really proud that I'm able to help people heal through their dark times, even by bringing a song that might not be like, you should love yourself, you're beautiful. Like, I've thought about, is this song gonna like make people's insecurities worse? Because my family, they're always like, write a happy song. Like, why are you writing these sad songs? And I'm like, you don't understand. But no, it actually does the opposite for a lot of people. It helps them, validates their experience, and a lot of people deal with people in their lives that constantly invalidate them, and kind of I think my music is an outlet for them to feel heard and understood.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. I definitely feel like when it comes to music, if it's relatable, like if people can see themselves in your lyrics, like you'll like it's a very powerful thing. You mentioned how you kind of externalize some of your insecurities and mental health struggles through your music. I noticed when you released Roller Coaster, it was kind of at you mentioned you're kind of in a bad place, and that was around the end of the pandemic. Did COVID-19 and the isolation stuff like that influence you getting started in music at all?
Um, yes, actually, the pandemic kind of made me a little more confident about pursuing my music because I think I was alone a lot, and I was like really craving like to do this, to really seek my dreams and like follow them and do my music. And I feel like before COVID, I was so caught up in like wanting to be popular, wanting to like have all these people that I can connect with at school, and I was scared to release music. I was scared to post singing videos because I'm like, what are they gonna think? Like like maybe people don't want to be friends with me because they'll think it's weird or whatever. And I was really insecure about that, and I feel like I kind of develop this mentality like I don't care anymore. Like, if people want to make fun of me, they can. Like, we've been so like brutalized in this pandemic, like we're alone and we're sad and we can't go out. Like, literally, who cares? Even if I like the school opens up again, like I'm following my dreams and I'm going to do it because, I don't know, I just gained some sort of confidence during that, and kind of just ever since then, I'm kind of developed the mentality of like, I don't really care what people think, even though, it's, people struggle with it every day and it's getting better and I'm healing from it. But I don't know, it kind of did an opposite effect for me. Like, even though it was such a bad time in my life where, everything was shut down, it kind of allowed me to be alone with my thoughts and kind of realize that who cares, kind of.
Yeah, I feel like with COVID-19 and the isolation, even though it has downsides, I feel like for a lot of people it's really brought out their artistic side because, people are looking for any kind of outlet to deal with these emotions they're going through. Um, I'm just curious, how long have you been singing? Like, were you ever in choir or lessons or anything like that, or has it just been something you've always wanted to do?
I have been singing since I was a kid. Like, I've always had a passion for singing and being creative. I did musical theater when I was a kid. I was the lead role in Annie. I did Matilda, like a bunch of musicals, musical theater. I kind of did it my whole life, but never pursued it professionally, like my own personal music. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and you mentioned like how the pandemic and just doing it made you a lot more confident. What I noticed is, especially in Not Enough, I feel like there's a lot of even for it being kind of like you said, a very serious song, kind of talk about your insecurities. There's a lot of confidence and power behind your voice. Do you feel like with each release you're kind of gaining a bit of confidence still?
yeah, I mean, with every song, I'm finding my voice and I'm finding the, you know, music that I want to create, my own little style. So definitely, yeah, it gets stronger every time.
So, and you mentioned that you've been singing for a long time. Who are some of your influences growing up? Like, who'd you listen to?
There is a video on YouTube that haunts me to the day. I was singing Adele with my little brother in our bedroom, in our bedroom, and Adele was like literally my favorite musical artist at the time when I was a kid, and I would sing all her songs. And yeah, sometimes my friends will find the video and like pull it up, and I'm like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. But it all starts from somewhere, and Adele was definitely an inspiration back then.
Yeah, and now that you say it, I can actually kind of hear that. Like, you don't have the deep kind of voice that Adele has, but like, I feel like the way you convey it and the way, like, the power behind your voice, like, that definitely makes a lot of sense. Who are some of your favorite artists currently? Like, who's on your on repeat playlist?
Right now, I would say Tate McRae, Nessa Barrett, um, Olivia Rodrigo, Gracie Abrams, Conan Gray. Yeah, Adele still. Um, yeah, I'm really inspired by the way they convey their lyrics in their music and their vocals and just everything about their music. And I really take inspiration from all of the music that I listen to. I also have a love for old music, like Barry Manilow, actually, like music like from the 60s, 70s. And I really love the way their songs are melodically, and I try to transfer that into when I compose my melodies for songs. So, yeah,
Wow,
pretty
that's
cool.
really cool. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot to be learned from those older songs because they may not have a ton going on like technically in terms of like all kinds of crazy synths and stuff, but there's a timelessness that still influences music today. Yeah, so you're based out of Los Angeles, is that correct?
Yeah.
So I feel like especially recently, LA has been a mecca of all kinds of new and upcoming artists getting started and all kinds of new sounds going on there. Is there something about the city at all that influences you artistically?
Um, yeah, I think I've grown up here my whole life and I have a lot of memories everywhere. So I feel like I tend to go to the places that I start thinking about memories of my childhood or memories of being with someone. and it kind of sparks this creativity where I can write fully, like in a vulnerable state where I don't know, I feel like LA is just surrounded with so many memories for me, and that's really helpful for songwriting. I went to New York and I tried to like write a song about, someone in LA, and I'm like, this is kind of harder because I'm not like surrounded by the memories and the feelings of driving home and missing this person and like I don't know. So I feel like just the memories of LA have really inspired me.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So do you have any new music coming up?
Yeah, I actually just did the cover shoot for my next single. I did it yesterday, and my next song is called My Heart's Not Yours. I am gonna have a release date in the next week, which is really cool, and I'm gonna start teasing the song this week. I'm in the process of moving, so probably once I get settled in, I'll start posting it everywhere on social media. It's a song about finally realizing that my heart deserves better, and just kind of wanting to give myself closure that my heart's not yours anymore to break, to crush, to make me feel like I'm not enough. And yeah, it's a song for people to relate to give themselves closure if they might have not gotten it. And just that a reminder to all my fans and whoever listens out there that our hearts deserve better from anyone that we have to question our worth for or that don't make us feel like we're good enough. So it's kind of like an empowering song, but it's very, very emotional. It's like crazy strings and like it sounds like a full orchestra. It's really cool. And we had a lot of my friends come in to do like background vocals. It's like choir behind me. It's really cool and I'm really excited. It takes a lot of inspiration from old music and like old melodies. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, that's really cool. I feel like when it comes to kind of like the pop style of music, there can be kind of a reputation that, it's a little superficial and happy go lucky and stuff like that. Whereas, like, the music you're writing is really relatable and these are real emotions that I feel like everybody has felt. Yeah, that's really cool. You also mentioned, and I've seen on your Instagram that you've started playing performing at live shows. What has that experience been like?
I did my first live show about 2 months ago, and it was the coolest experience I've ever had. Like, definitely one of my core memories of life because my whole family, basically, like half of my family were there. And a lot of my friends were there, and it was just such a great experience because I was so nervous leading up to the event and the show, and just like that feeling of getting on stage and like watching everyone look at me and sing my lyrics back to me. That was such an amazing, like, heartwarming experience, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Everything happened so perfectly, and like I was so excited about my outfit I chose, and it was just so cool to hear people like really resonate with my lyrics live, like seeing people like hold their heart or like just scream the lyrics. I was like, oh my gosh, like people know my music. Yeah, and my great grandpa, he just turned 93 and he was there. And
Wow.
he like gave me the biggest hug ever, and I posted on Instagram, and I'm just so grateful that I have so many people there to support me. And yeah, and my fans supported me online that couldn't come, and that was really cool.
Yeah, that's really incredible. Yeah, there's really something special about live music. Were there any takeaways like that you weren't expecting for performing live? Was there anything that caught you by surprise, really, or did it go as you expected?
It caught me by surprise that like after the first song was done, I was not even nervous, and I just like I was so worried about forgetting my lyrics, and it just came so naturally. And I was really shocked about that. I thought I would have to be like, okay, like while I'm singing, like thinking about what's the next line, and it just kind of flowed. And I was really like grateful that my nerves didn't get the best of me. So yeah, that was pretty shocking, honestly.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, that sounds almost like a scene from a movie, like, where like the protagonist is like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous," and they get on stage, and it's just like they've been doing it all their life. So that's really cool. Can Kaylee Lauren fans expect any future shows coming up?
Definitely. I am trying to book like more and more shows every day. I've just been so busy in the studio and creating for my fans and yeah, but I definitely like whenever I have show dates, I post them as soon as I can, like as soon as they allow us to like release it. And I promote it everywhere so people know and yeah, but not an official date right now, but definitely more coming soon, so stay tuned.
That's awesome. So, you've already accomplished a lot, like honestly more than a lot of people who have decided to pursue music have in such a short time. What are your dreams? Like, where do you hope to be in 5 years? Do you have any venues or any tours you want to do or anything like that?
Yeah, I definitely want to do a headline tour and I want to play at Madison Square Garden. That's so cool. I love New York and like that would be such a dream come true. I want to just like have a fan base that I know supports me and loves me even like just the way they are now. I'm just so grateful for what I already have and just to grow that fan base would be amazing. Going on tour and working with like industry professionals like even more and going in the studio more, traveling and meeting. I really want to meet my fans like in real life and I want to hug them and like, you know, help them in any way I can with whether it's music or a hug or meet and greets, whatever it is. I'm so grateful for them and they're the reason that I get to do this. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, it is really inspiring. I really feel like with the type of role you're on, you definitely have a good chance of getting there. And you mentioned industry professionals. Not Enough was produced by Marky Styles. Is that correct?
Yeah.
It's a really well produced song. How did that connection come to be?
He's incredible. I love Marky. I was actually just talking to him yesterday. We are gonna plan on doing another three songs together, which is cool. Um, I remember he was the first producer to answer my DMs, and you know, at the time I didn't have a lot of followers, and sometimes like I know people are busy and they're like, "Oh, who's this girl that wants to send me music? She's probably like whatever." I was so grateful that he actually answered because you know, like one out of like 10 would answer. I will never forget. I was at my cousin's car dealership. She was getting a car, and I looked at my phone. I'm like, oh my God, he answered, guys. Like my first like producer interaction, and we hopped on a Zoom call, and you know, instantly we connected, and I feel like he really understands me lyrically, musically. I can give him this idea, and he'll just understand what's going on inside my head, and like translate that into my music. So I'm really grateful that he was the first producer that I got to work with because he's taught me a lot and inspired me a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. So the person behind Kaylee Lauren, so you obviously have a love for music as you've gone this far with it already. But what are some other things you love, or any hobbies or interests that your fans might want to know about? Like, you know, like person behind the music.
Yeah, I love fashion. I'm getting really into it. I went to New York Fashion Week and I went to a bunch of shows, and that was really cool. I'm really interested in mental health and journaling. Um, yeah, I'm just like on the journey of healing and I'm finding new things I love every day. I'm getting more into like makeup and just kind of like fashion, beauty stuff. Yeah, I feel like I played basketball, soccer, volleyball. I've played a lot of sports my whole life. I recently just stopped playing basketball to focus on music, and yeah, it's kind of some stuff I do besides music.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Yeah, you mentioned mental health again, and um, like I myself, I have my own mental health struggles, and I've learned that writing, like you said, journaling and writing lyrics really helps me a lot. Do you feel that same catharsis?
Yeah, I feel like writing it down brings a different perspective to me, because I'll be feeling all these thoughts and I mean, hearing all these thoughts in my head and feeling all these emotions and not really knowing how to communicate them to people around me or just understanding them myself. And when I write them in a song or journal, I sit there and I read it back to myself and I'm like, how could I like communicate this better to my family? How could I you know, fix things in my life to allow me to be less anxious, a little less depressed, or anything I'm going through. I recently started writing like my feelings out, like just some feelings I felt throughout the day. And if it's like I was tired because I didn't get enough sleep. So on the right side of the paper, I write like things that I could do to prevent me feeling these ways in any way that I can. And let's say like it's like going to sleep earlier and preparing for the test the night before, let's say for school or for work or anything. So I try to do that by writing and I find it really helpful. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
that's really awesome. Like, a big key component of mental health is definitely, being able to set your like make that extra effort to externalize things and make a plan and just doing little things to make yourself more productive. One thing that has really helped me, especially recently, is meditation when it comes to that. Have you practiced that at all?
Yeah, actually, my therapist, after every session, we do like a 30-minute meditation together via FaceTime, and it's really helpful and really calms my nerves down and calms my thoughts and intrusive thoughts. It kind of just allows me to be present and not worried about anything for 30 minutes. It's really great. And it kind of calms down the rest of my night or the rest of my day and allows me to kind of like start fresh. Like if I started my day on a bad note, then I meditate. I kind of can like take a deep breath and realize that my thoughts don't define me or whatever, and I kind of just go on with my day with this new like energy, I guess. So yeah, meditation, love it. You guys should try it.
Yeah, it's really awesome. There is kind of a stigma among people, not as much as there used to be, but there is still kind of some around therapy. Would you say therapy has been a good experience for you?
Yeah, I understand where people are coming from when therapy, they're kind of against it a little bit. It really depends on the therapist and how much they can really provide guidance for you. I've had therapists that kind of bring up all the trauma and then they're like, "Oh, our hour's done. So you're going to
Oh
have to sit
yeah.
there with your trauma alone. Goodbye." And I'm like, "Well, if you can find a therapist that will not like cut you off because of timing or whatever, which I understand, like they have to go to next session, but sometimes there's better ways to approach things. If you can find a therapist that you feel really connected to and that they're really listening and understanding you, that's like the best feeling. And it's great because, you can feel like you can tell them anything. And it's not like your parents or your family or your friends who you might think will judge you. This is someone who, just got to know you and they're there to support you. So if you can find a therapist that really makes you feel understood, then it's a great thing.
Yeah, I completely agree. I have the same issue in the podcast that host where we start talking about music and then we go down the mental health rabbit hole, so I'm going to catch myself to make sure we're not talking for 5 hours. So you mentioned you want to go on tour someday. If you could choose anywhere in the world to go on tour, I know you mentioned you want to go to Madison Square Garden, but like, a part of tour is be able to travel the world. Where would you want to visit on tour?
I want to tour. I mean, I want to go on tour in like Europe, in Paris. Like that is so cool because I've never been actually to Europe or in Europe. And like I feel like that would be such a surreal experience to see like people across the world screaming your songs at you at your concert. I think that's so cool and I'd love to meet my international fans. So probably like Paris right now in Europe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's nothing stopping you from reaching that goal. I mean, your music obviously can connect to anybody, whether young or old or regardless of their background. So that's I think that's really cool. So you mentioned before how I mean you tried to get big on TikTok, but later found um better luck on Instagram and Pinterest. Does the idea of a song going viral on a platform influence your writing, or not really?
Um, I mean, since not enough went viral, it's definitely like as much as it's been amazing, it's kind of given me this like mindset where I'm like, this next song has to be written as good as this one or better. Because if it doesn't like go viral, then it won't do well. And, obviously this song is going viral for whatever people love about it, like the writing, the my vocals, the video, like whatever. So it gives me a kind of a little bit of anxiety. Like I need this next song needs to be perfect because it needs to lead up to that. That many views, that many interactions on Instagram. So yes, it's been amazing, and I'm so grateful for where it's given me this like platform to share. But yeah, it kind of makes me nervous about my new songs, I guess, when I'm writing them. Like, does this make sense? Is this relatable? Like, are people gonna like connect to this? And at the end of the day, it should be like very personal also, so that it is vulnerable and it's not curated for like everyone else but you, then it's not personal and it's probably not as relatable, I guess. That's kind of what I think in my songwriting. Like I don't want to write for everyone else because if I'm writing for someone else, it's not as personal and vulnerable in my perspective. Maybe other writers write like that and that works for them. That's amazing. But it's always in the back of my head, like, is this relatable? It's not like I'm writing about, oh, like my red blanket. Like it's not like that, but I try to make it as vulnerable and honest and relatable at the same time. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly the way to be because I think if you're trying to write for the sake of going popular or for the sake of other people, your songs wouldn't have that same kind of emotional connection to people. And, there is something to definitely be said that when it comes to writing personal music, having those connections to your fans is a reward in itself. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's like
Yeah.
the best. I love talking to them, and I do this thing where if I post a new Instagram post, I'll post on my story like check out the new Instagram post and comment like a yellow star or a white heart or a pink heart, whatever. Comment this emoji and I'll DM you a surprise. And everyone's probably like, oh my God, she's gonna send a new song. And I write them messages like, you are so loved and you're so extremely like important on this planet. And I love you and thank you for supporting me. And I think that really allows my fans to connect to me because I write them all these like messages and then, we continue conversations from there. And it's important to build a community in music. If you're dropping song after song and not like communicating with your fans, like you need to have at least a couple like really amazing fans that really care about your next release because that's how it grows. Then you get more and more and more fans that truly care about you and your music. And the only way to do that is to connect with people. You can't just put out a song and be like, where's my fans? Hello, like go stream my music without like connecting to them. So, yeah,
Wow, that
connection.
that is actually really incredible. I've really never heard of another artist doing that. So that's really cool. So I think this actually tells a lot about a person. So do you listen to albums or do you listen to playlists?
Ooh, I listen to albums. I don't listen to a lot of playlists because like it's annoying to kind of like skip through music that, like, oh, I've never heard of this song, but it's okay. Skip. Like I kind of like music that I know I like, and then I just kind of put it on. If I'm like searching for new music, I go to playlists, but like every day, like listening to music, I usually just put on like albums or songs that I like kind of know specifically.
Awesome.
I could like look up and just like listen to that, I guess.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same way. Do you have any like favorite albums front to back?
Yeah, Nessa Barrett's new album, so good. Um, I'm literally in love with all the songs, and I take so much inspiration from her writing because I feel like a lot of experiences and emotions, or more emotions that she's conveyed, I can really relate to, and I really hope that my fans feel the same way about my music, the way I feel about my favorite artist's music, because it's a great feeling to feel connected to someone who you don't really know, but there's still a connection there, so it's cool.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I mean, I can definitely like hear that influence of what you're going for. Um, so I always like to ask while I wrap up, what is your best sales pitch to a prospective listener to check out one of your songs?
I kind of I kind of just say like my music is vulnerable and honest, and I convey my deeply personal feelings in a way that people can relate and connect to. And if you're looking for music that, if you're feeling emotional or feeling like people don't understand you, I would check out my music because I have a lot of different songs from different perspectives that I've and experiences that I've gone through in my life. And they're really personal and, I think relatable and deep. So if you just kind of want to feel validated or connected to someone else's experience or emotions, check out my music.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can feel that when I listen to your music. I mean, I'm honestly more of a heavy music guy, but I listen to your music, I'm like, wow, I can connect to this. So you're definitely achieving what you're setting out to do. Um, and I think it shows in your streaming numbers and everything. So the sky's the limit. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about in this interview that I may have missed?
um, Not really. Just want to remind my fans before I go that I'm so grateful for you and anyone who's watching. Thanks for watching. And you're so loved. And yeah, I love you guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me here at Musaholic Magazine to talk about your new single and your song coming up.